Hello everyone, and welcome to the demonstration video for the paper prototype of Mecha Mercs, a puzzle game about giant robots. Now imagine the image before you is a giant blown up phone screen, and in the top portion you'll see a scenario being played out between the player's mech and the enemies. They might be mechs, they might be other things. Now in front of each is this sort of curved bar which acts as the health or the shields of their respective parties. To win the stage or whatever, the player must deplete the enemy's shield. Oop, I hit him. Shield completely, and to lose, the player has to have their shield depleted completely, and then take an additional strike which destroys their mech. Mechs aren't actually destroyed, but it'll just end that battle. So, how exactly do you attack the enemy? Well, you have to make matches of 3 or more like icons on the bottom grid area. And the way that you do this is you tap one of the tiles, any of them, and then you start dragging. Now, you have to make 3 or more, so if I tap like the bottom where there's 2 triangles, and I tap it and drag, nothing will happen when I release my finger. Because it's an invalid move, it won't do anything. It also won't use up the player's move or turn. But I can see here in the top, there's these 3 X's that are all in a row. So I'll tap one, and I'll drag it over, and when I release, they will disappear from the board. Their damage will be calculated, and then it will deplete the enemy's shield by whatever amount. And a couple new icons will appear in its place, including a special one that I have here that you probably can't see. Now, since I just made an attack with the X's, there's actually these bars behind the player which will be stacked for all whatever mechs that the player is controlling. And using that strike will deplete it by a certain amount. When it's depleted too much, then I can't actually attack with it. So, to remedy that, oh, excuse me, I have to switch phases. You might be able to see this. It says attack, and then there's this empty one over on the left side. When you tap it, it will change it from the attack phase to the charge phase. And in the charge phase, when you make matches of 3 or more of the same icons, rather than calculating the damage and then attacking the enemy with it, it will calculate the amount and then fill up the energy bar for the player. So we can do that now with the X's since I used X's. So in the bottom, there's these 3 X's together, and there's 2 X's and 2 X's here, but I can't make this sort of match. That won't connect. They have to be adjacent to one of the flat edges of the square. So I'll click it and then drag up, and that will remove them from the board, and then it will fill up my energy gauge so that now I can use X's to attack again. When those are gone, sometimes you will see a little item that you probably can't tell either, but it's supposed to be like this rock with a glowing light coming from the middle of it. And it's a special item that acts as like, I don't know, loot or something to that extent, that's sort of hidden underneath the icons in the grid. So then when the things are gone, the ones at the top will fall down to the open slots, and in addition, some more will fall down from the unknown top bar that doesn't exist and fill up the remaining slots. So now I know that in this spot is one of those loot icons. And to acquire a loot icon, you have to remove a tile or hit a tile, so to speak, with one of the special attacks. And I actually have a special attack up here, but it won't be able to reach down there, so I won't be able to demonstrate that. But now that I have charge of the X, and honestly I still have charge of the other ones, I was just demonstrating the charge thing. I'll switch back to the attack phase, and instead I want to use this guided missile. And the way that the guided missile works is it can connect with any of the other kinds of tiles, but it can't connect them together like as a bridge. Like I can't start with the triangles, hit the guided missile, and then try to connect circles. It doesn't work like that. But in this case, I will take them and connect them with the circle. And the way that the guided missile works is when you touch it and it's part of like your dragging, I guess, path, then it will react and explode in a 9-tile radius, taking up all the different squares that are adjacent around it. So in this case, and also so I don't have to remove a lot of icons on the board because it's a big hassle. I'm sorry, guys. I will tap it and then drag down over and back up, and that will remove these circles. I will attack with whatever circle attack I have for this mech, and instead of this falling down into place, it will actually follow my finger and go to where it last left off, and then the remaining ones, and I just removed them but put them back because it's faster, will fall back into the spots, and the guided missile will react and explode. And when it does that, it would explode around it. Now since it's in this corner, it's only going to hit these three and itself. So in that case, when it goes off, it will explode again, which essentially allowed me to clear, instead of 3 circles and a guided missile, I cleared 6 and a guided missile. And so that damage was added to the original attack, and then it modified because I had a special with it, which increased the damage as well. How much that damage has increased is something that we're still working through. But in this case, more tiles fell down. Now, I hadn't really gone into it because it was, I don't know, I guess too much information at the time. But the enemy has a number counter above their head. And each time I use an action, interact with it, and then have it complete like a turn, this counter will go down by 1. And when it reaches 1, oh no, I lost my 1. Alright. Here it is. And it flipped over. When it reaches 1, that means after I do the next action, the enemy will attack me. And then it will go back to what it was originally at. So, that's kind of the entire demonstration of just a little bit of the basic examples. I didn't want to make it too complicated or overload you guys with a lot of information, but there's a lot of emergent skill and just strategy involved with this type of attacking and charging gameplay, as well as using the different specials and how you use them. But for now, this is the end of the demonstration video. I hope that you guys enjoyed it, and I hope that you sort of understood what was going on, at least for some of the basic actions. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.